Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Allen, Anderson, Bates, Bell, Berryhill, Block, Cannella, De Leon, Fuller, Gaines, Galgiani, Glazer, Hall, Hancock, Hernandez, Hertzberg, Hill, Hueso, Huff, Jackson, Latta, Leno, Leyva, Liu, McGuire, Mendoza, Mitchell, Monning, Morlock, Morrell, Wynn, Nilsson, Pan, Pavley, Roth, Runner, Stone, Vidak, Wachowski, Wolk.
The Secretary notes the presence of a quorum. Would the members and our guests beyond the rail and in the gallery please rise? We'll be led in prayer this afternoon by our chaplain, Sister Michelle Gorman, after which please remain standing. We'll be led in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag by Senator Hall.
Let us center ourselves in God's holy presence. Divine Spirit, creator of every kind of paradox and puzzle, our mystification must be your joy. Why else would you hide yourself so effectively? We ask you to take us gently towards the light and persuade us to learn wisdom from the alive and elegant universe. Our prayers and philosophizing will guide us gradually through the unknown to help us sense your holy presence and learn which convictions of ours are promising and which are illusory. In awe, we know your heart and admire your astounding generosity. You are our God, the God with us and beyond us. We hope to be your joy. Amen.
Place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Colleagues, privileges of the floor. Privileges of the floor. Senator Hall.
Yes, Madam President, I'd like to introduce some distinguished guests that we have joining us on the Senate floor without objection.
Please proceed.
Madam President, the 35th Senate District is blessed to be the home to some of the most influential faith leaders in our nation. From Inglewood to San Pedro, from Compton to Watts, governors, U.S. presidents, and foreign heads of state all flock to these faith leaders because of their dedication to their congregation, their community, and their God. Today, I'm proud to return the favor. Today, I'm proud to bring faith leaders from my district and throughout Southern California to the state capitol to have a policy conversation about how we in government and those in the faith community can work together to address many of the challenges we face in our state. From reducing gun violence, closing the achievement gap, and opportunity gaps in education and the workplace, reducing recidivism, to ensuring that we have the strongest pay equity laws in our nation. Today is the beginning of a broader conversation to better engage the faith community in the legislative process and to ensure that these laws we pass and the budgets we approve prioritize the most vulnerable in our state. Senators, I am pleased to introduce some of California's greatest faith leaders on this side of heaven. Please join me in welcoming Pastor Vera Little of the Inspirational Faith-Based Chamber of Commerce, Pastor E.L. Williams of New Prospect Missionary Baptist Church, Pastor James Knight Dr. McLeod, Mr. Winifred Buchanan and Christian Center, Mrs. Bernadine Buchanan, Ms. Loretta Jackson, Ms. Sherry Hernandez, Dr. Joseph Anderson, Ms. Amanda Anderson, Mr. William Robinson, and Mr. Matthew Jackson. Again, please give our Los Angeles faith leaders a warm senatorial welcome.
We welcome you all to the California State Senate. Senator Fuller, for what purpose do you rise?
Purposes of introduction.
Why don't we wait one moment so the back of the chambers can be cleared? Again, thank you all for your service. And Senator Fuller, thank you for waiting.
Madam President, members and guests, today I have the privilege, along with Senator Allen, of introducing several accomplished women who are experts in aerospace exploration and innovation. I wish we had time to expand on their extensive biographies, pushing the limits of space, but you will get the chance to hear more about that at our Select Committee's hearing this afternoon. These individuals represent the changing face of aerospace and engineering in California. I believe they represent our future, a future where we expand the ranks of women in these STEM fields, a future of innovation and a better tomorrow. You can learn more about this by coming to our hearing at 3 p.m. in room 4203. First, today we have with us one of two NASA astronauts. And I think when you look back here, give us the wave. Dr. Tamara Jernigan, Deputy Principal Associate Director for the Weapons Complex Integration at Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory. And we have several more, so we'll hold our applause, and we'll let Senator Allen do the next.
A wonderful celebration of women in aerospace, and as Senator Fuller mentioned, we'll be having a hearing on this very shortly. But we've got Julie Van Cleek here, who's the Vice President of Advanced Space and Launch at Aerojet Rocketdyne. We've got Madeline Salazar, who's the Integration Manager at Boeing Satellite Systems, and also Dr. Melina Hills, who is the Vice President of Space Programs Operations at the Aerospace Corporation.
We also have Dr. Deborah Larson, Dean of the College of Engineering at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. We have one additional speaker who could not make the floor but will be at the hearing, Lieutenant Colonel Kelly Latimer, test pilot at Virgin Galactic, who had a giant rollout last week that was very, very exciting. So finally, members, I want to introduce someone who, without her organization, Aerospace Days would not be possible. Our second NASA astronaut, Dr. Sandra Magnus, Executive Director of the American Institution of Aeronautics and Astronautics. Give them a big hand. Thank you.
Girl power in space and engineering. Thank you very much, Senator Fuller. Senator Fuller is inviting members to the rear of the chambers for a photo opportunity. Senator Allen, for what purpose do you rise?
Yeah, I also wanted to take an opportunity to introduce some extraordinary leaders from the faculty at Santa Monica College, which is the #1 transfer college in the state to the UC system. And we've got Tom Chen here, and Matt Hodson-Pillar, and Mario Martinez, Kevin Menton, and Tom Peters. They're up here in the gallery, and it's just my pleasure to introduce them today. I used to teach at Santa Monica College myself. It is a wonderful institution, and we've got such incredible faculty there, and they're here representing the faculty, and I just wanted to take an opportunity to introduce these gentlemen here today.
Thank you and welcome to the Senate. Thank you, Senator Allen. Colleagues, we are still under privileges of the floor. Senator Glazer, for what purpose do you rise?
For purposes of introduction.
Please proceed.
Members, we have a real privilege today. We've had some wonderful introductions to date, but I'm pleased to introduce someone who many of you know and perhaps have worked with during his service in the Senate. And for many, maybe you've only heard his reputation, a giant reputation, and this might be the first opportunity. But Senator David Roberti was first elected to the legislature, I believe it was 1966 in the Assembly. He was elected to the Senate in 1971, and he served for 13 years as the president pro tem of this august body. I had the, come on up here, Senator Roberti. Members, I had the great honor of working with Senator Roberti for about 6 or 7 years as a member of his staff, including as his press secretary here in the Senate. And his record of achievement is extraordinary during his years of service. Let me mention a couple of those highlights for you. He created the first statewide program for latchkey kids, a trail-breaking program to take care of latchkey children. He was the author, showing enormous courage, that established the country's first ban on assault weapons. He was known as a champion for renters. He was known as a state leader on animal rights. He was a pioneer in the whole area of affordable housing, housing for the homeless, and authored numerous pieces of legislation to care for those most vulnerable living on the streets. And, you know, one of the things that's overlooked in the service that each of us provide, because a lot of the times the chronicling of it is bills that we pass. But I think one of the most noteworthy things about Senator Roberti is literally the hundreds of staff members who have worked with him over his time in the legislature, that many of them are still here today. Many of them, like me, maybe have taken on other responsibilities here in the legislature. David Roberti fought very hard for democratic values, but he was comfortable with consensus building and problem solving. He's a champion of California, and I know you all join me in saying welcome home, Senator Roberti.
Mr. Pro Tem Emeritus at the Pro Tem's desk, please. Good afternoon, sir.
Thank you very much, Senator Glazer. I didn't know you would make it to the Senate because you had too much of an independent streak, but it served you well. And this is the first time, aside from memorials, which I'm a favorite at memorials because most of my colleagues were older than me and are not necessarily here anymore. But this is the first time I've talked on the Senate floor. Since 1994, so it's a nostalgic moment. Enjoy every minute of serving the people of California because it is a opportunity second to none and an enormous honor, that I had, not only being a senator, but being asked by my colleagues to lead this august place. And I appreciate the warm welcome. Do a great job for the people of California, and you will have served yourself and your state well. Thank you very much.
Senator Nielsen, for what purpose do you rise?
Madam President, I add my own brief tribute to Senator Roberti.
You certainly may, sir. Go right ahead.
It was my honor to serve 5 years as Senate Republican leader during Senator Bertie's tenure as the pro tem of this Senate. I remember Senator Bertie's first day as the pro tem of this House. And one always wonders what the new pro tem will bring to the institution. Will that pro tem be a pro tem for the whole Senate? David Roberti most assuredly was. I remember his stewardship of this House, and I remember his fiery and eloquent debates sometimes. Once in a while when we were debating against each other, and I love those pictures of us dealing with each other. And I remember those Big Five meetings that were convened by Governor Duke Mason, dealing with he and Willie Brown and those hard negotiations, but fair ones. And it was mentioned by Senator Glazer about the latchkey children. But another accomplishment was the GAIN program, which became CalWorks. And it was my privilege to team up with Senator Roberti to add child care to the GAIN program at the time. It came to the Senate without child care in it. And in a bipartisan way, we teamed up to make sure child care became a part of the GAIN program and then later CalWorks. David Roberti, you were a great senator, a great pro tem. It's an honor for us to have you back in your home, the state Senate. God love you.
Thank you very much, Senator Nielsen. Senator Roberti, since I'm presiding officer today, I'm going to ask if you'd come up here so I can get a picture too as a former Senate Rules and Senate employee under your pro temship. I'd appreciate that. I can't leave my post, sir. You understand that. Senator Runner at
Senator Fuller's desk.
At Senator Fuller's desk. Thank you, ma'am. Senator Runner, for what purpose do you rise?
In motions and resolutions to introduce several guests who are with us today for the Aerospace Days.
Please proceed. Thank you.
Okay. We are honored today to have representatives of 3 of NASA centers based here in California in the back of the Senate chamber. With us today are Deputy Director Tom Edwards with the NASA Ames Research Center in Mountain View. Right there. He's waving. Director David McBride with the NASA Armstrong Flight Research Center at Edwards Air Force Base, near my district, Senator Fuller's district, and Deputy Director Larry James with NASA Jet Propulsion Labs in Pasadena. That would be in the senator from Pasadena's area. And join me today in welcoming them for the Aerospace Days.
Thank you very much, and welcome to the Senate floor. Thank you, Senator Runner, for that introduction. We will next recognize Senator Jackson. Senator Jackson, for what purpose do you rise?
For purposes of introduction, if I may, Madam President.
Please proceed.
Thank you. I would like to ask a group of feisty young ladies if they wouldn't mind coming to the back of the chamber as we commence Women's History Month. I want to introduce you all to, I think, what do we got? Eight of our original Rosies here today. 6, 2, 4, 6, 8. I hope my arithmetic is good. Colleagues, I want to introduce you to an extraordinary group of women who represented our nation well during the call to come into the workforce to assist as most of our young men in the workforce were called to duty during that period of war. These women answered the call. Indeed, in World War II, there were 19 million women in the workforce. 3 million of them were people who had joined the workforce to take the jobs of our young men who were overseas. They served this nation with distinction. They were paid, some of them paid well. Mary says she was paid every darn penny her male colleagues were paid. Unfortunately, that wasn't true for all Marys. And whoever negotiated your contract for you, I'd like to meet them after we adjourn here today. We're still working on that, but I was honored, as were many of us, when the governor signed SB 358, the Fair Pay Bill, to hold the bill signing at the Rosie the Riveter Museum in Richmond, California. And I would urge everyone in this room, if you have not been to that museum, you really should go. You should bring your children, your grandchildren, your nieces, your nephews. It is an extraordinary place that recalls an era where women, our women, answered the call. And I can think of no better way to kick off Women's History Month than honoring the contributions and the important work that these original Rosie the Riveters played during World War II. I'd like to introduce them. If you just wave. We have Marion Wynn, Marin Sosa, Phyllis Gould, Kay Morrison, Agnes Moore, Mary Torres, Priscilla Elder, and Margaret Archie. Ladies and gentlemen, and Madam President, I would be remiss if I didn't remind us all that these women were and still are an essential part of our workforce. Now, women were encouraged during the early 40s when it was clear we were off to war and that the war was going to exist for a sustained period of time. They were encouraged to enter the workforce, and our information propaganda machine did its best to encourage their male partners to encourage them to work. Then when it became clear that the war was going to end, the message shifted so that these women would be urged and indeed replaced in the workforce when their spouses and when the men came back. We have been fighting a battle ever since that time for women in the workforce to be paid more than 50% of the male wages, which many of them saw at the time that they were serving our nation. Now, we have women in the workforce today, as we know. These Rosies represent and have become an icon for the feminist movement for equal pay, parity, and respect in our workforce. And we are honored and so pleased to have them here today as we kick off Women's Equality Day. I would ask for another round of applause for these tough and feisty, wonderful patriots.
Senator Hancock, for what purpose do you rise?
Thank you, Madam President. I rise because I am the proud representative of the district that has the Rosie the Riveter State Park, and have met many of the Rosies as we commemorated the building and when they go and present at the Rosie the Riveter National Urban Park. I would echo Senator Jackson. Everybody should go there. You will see and learn extraordinary stories about our history and about what women did when they took over the home front, stepped up to the plate, took on what had been male jobs, and made it all work. Just to say, they had a little help from Henry Kaiser of Kaiser Shipyards, started health care. They had, I think you had child care and homes. Lots of very good things that show when people pull together, they make it work. And it was, at a terrible time, a joyful and positive time for these women. Thank you all so much for what you did and what you do.
Senator McGuire?
Thank you much, Madam President. It is my privilege to take just a few moments to recognize Phyllis Gould from Marin County, and we are honored that she is here today. Phyllis, get this, Madam President, recently gained national recognition when she was invited to the White House by Vice President Biden, who recognized her for being one of the first 6 women workers in the Kaiser shipyards in Richmond, California, where she worked from 42 to 45. And I got to say, Madam President, Phyllis is truly a trailblazer. She broke traditional labor barriers 73 years ago. Phyllis, we welcome you to the State Senate.
Thank you so much. Senator Leyva.
Thank you, Madam President. Good afternoon, Rosies. I just wanted to say thank you for paving the way for all of us ladies here on the Senate floor and ladies up and down the state and across the country. For those of you who didn't have an opportunity to meet with these ladies, they are truly amazing, and probably most of you don't know that at least 3 of the 4 I spoke to were welders, and I don't think there are too many of us, male or female, on this floor who know how to weld. So ladies, thank you for paving the way for us. Keep up the great work. Thanks for joining us today.
We want to thank Senator Runner at Senator Fuller's desk.